Well, welcome to 700 Club Canada. I'm so glad you joined me today. You know, we're going to talk about casting our cares on him. Now, I'm no fisherman. Can I just say that? I don't like to touch the fish. But one thing I learned when I went to Israel was when they casted nets out onto the ocean, or onto the sea, wherever they were, they had to release and let go. If they were to hold back at all, the net would get all tangled. It wouldn't spread out properly over the water. And I thought, every time I think about this verse, you know, this idea of casting our cares on Jesus, you know, it reminds me, like, don't try to micromanage it. Like, sometimes I'm like, okay, Jesus, you can have this care, but I'm going to keep this one, you know, like, I'll let you have that one. But he says, cast, just let go and let them fly, because he can handle it. And I hope today, as you watch this show, whatever cares that you're carrying, that you would be freed up to just cast them on Jesus. Don't try to micromanage your concerns. How's that? Another thing that really, really helps me, and we'll talk more about this later, is just taking time to reflect back on the year. And you know, we have so many things to be thankful for. I know 2020 has been a crazy year, but we still have many things to be thankful for. So start making your list of thankfulness as we work through the end of this week together, and then let's surrender everything else to him. You're going to see today how one workaholic learned to trust God and just let go. There it is. Donna explains how a miracle not only healed her body, but gave her a new perspective on life. And with emotional and mental illness front and center during this pandemic, we have an incredible story of healing for one woman who struggled with bipolar disorder. But first, this is the story of one famous football mascot who needed a miracle. Watch this.
My job description, if you go to my office up at Arrowhead Stadium, it says Casey Wolf, Director of Shenanigans. That's what that's what is on my nameplate at my office.
Dan Meers has been entertaining Kansas City Chiefs fans for almost 30 years as the team mascot, the KC Wolf. He first donned a mascot outfit while in college at the University of Missouri as their mascot, Truman the Tiger.
For 4 years, I got to do college football and basketball and other sporting events and community events, and I just had a lot of fun doing it, never dreaming that it was going to eventually turn into my career.
Dan is the longest performing mascot in professional sports and the first inducted into the Mascot Hall of Fame. With every Chiefs home game, he has opportunities to try new skits and stunts.
You know, we're always looking for ways to take it to the next level. And so that we're always trying to think of what will the fans enjoy. And I had seen another mascot who had zip-lined into his stadium, and I thought, you know, that'd be awesome. I thought, we'll try that out. And so I jumped out and basically zipped across the stadium, and then they lowered me to the field, and the crowd just loved it. And so later that season, we thought, you know what, we'll do it again, but we don't want to do the exact same thing. We want to kind of mix it up so it's, you know, new and fresh. And so they're like, well, we could do a bungee jump with it.
The day before debuting the stunt, he did a test jump without the costume that went horribly wrong.
When I jumped out of the lights, because of the slack that was still in the zip line that day, instead of falling 20 feet, I fell approximately 70 to 75 feet, and I hit the seats in the upper level at Arrowhead Stadium.
His fall broke 2 seats out of the stadium's concrete. But it was Dan's body that took most of the impact.
I wasn't sure what all had happened, and I knew I'd never felt pain like that before in my life.
Dan broke his back and 7 ribs along with his tailbone and sacrum. He also had a collapsed lung and struggled to breathe. As he was lowered to the field, a friend rushed to his side and prayed for him.
It was a good reminder that God's in control. You know, he had someone there in place that was going to come pray for me, and just kind of my reminder that, hey, I'm here, and it's going to be okay.
The following day, Dan had 2 titanium rods surgically implanted in his back to secure his spine. He awoke from surgery thankful to be alive, but wondering why God allowed this accident to happen.
There were times where I would just be sitting there in so much pain, I'd be like, God, I really don't like this plan. I told him that, but he reminded me, yeah, trust me, I'll get you through this.
After 9 days in the hospital, Dan went home. For the next 6 months, he endured grueling rehab and physical therapy. For a time, Dan struggled emotionally until he heard a message on Christian radio about thankfulness.
He says, every morning you wake up, everybody's got something to complain about, and everybody's got something to be thankful for. He said, whichever one you choose to focus on is going to determine your attitude for the day. And I still remember sitting in my car, tears running down my face. That's shocking, I know. And but I realized that God just taught me a valuable lesson. I learned that, yeah, I could complain about my 7 broken ribs, or I could choose to be thankful I had 17 good ones that weren't broken. You know, I realized I could complain about my collapsed left lung that still wasn't completely healed, or I could be thankful I had 2 lungs and the other one was working just fine. You know, there's all kinds of things I could complain about, but that day I stopped, and I remember I told God thank you for my pain, and that's really hard to do. I think I'm pretty good about thanking Him for my blessings, but saying thank you for pain is hard. But I did. I thanked Him because I realized if I couldn't feel pain, I'd be dead or I'd be paralyzed. And then I thought about that, death, paralysis, or pain. I got the best one out of the 3. I tell people I still wake up with pain every morning. God reminds me I get to make a choice. When I get out of bed, I can choose to rise and shine, or I can choose to rise and whine. And I don't want to be a whiner. You see, whiners do not make a positive impact for Jesus Christ in this world. And you know, as believers, we're called to get out and make a difference in our world, and to shine the love of Christ everywhere we go.
Amazingly, by the start of the next football season, Dan was healthy enough to be back in the wolf suit once again.
You know, I knew I was back to doing what I love doing, and that's putting on a costume and entertaining fans at Arrowhead Stadium. And I was just so excited to be back, and I came home that night just on cloud 9. I was worn out, but I was excited knowing that, yeah, my body was strong enough to continue to do what I love doing.
Dan wrote a book about his career, recovery, and God's faithfulness through it all entitled Wolves Can't Fly. He continues to inspire people as the KC Wolf, and also with his testimony of thankfulness in the midst of pain.
I've had people say, you're lucky to be alive. I don't believe I'm lucky to be alive. I do believe I'm blessed. The one thing he has shown me is just how incredibly good He is, how incredibly faithful He is, and on the good days and even on the rough days, that He's still on the throne. God's principles and God's promises never change. They're always reliable, no matter how severe or how painful the situation is. I know God loves me. You know, I read that every morning in His Word. He loves me. I also know that He's got a good plan for my life, and I'm just grateful that I get to walk with Him each and every step of this journey.
We know that this is a challenging time for many, so we're here to offer you some hope. Join us on the 700 Club Canada from January 11th to 15th for an entire week devoted to the issues facing many Canadians today. We'll be joined by psychologist Dr. Mary Lynn, psychotherapist and mental health specialist Harrison Mungle, and counselor Andrew Blackwood for an in-depth discussion to equip you to handle issues like stress, depression, and anxiety during these unprecedented times. Don't miss this important week. Join us for the Week of Hope, January 11th to 15th.
Donna Mortelli has dedicated her entire life to perfecting the art of dance. A professional ballet dancer, she performed around the world until retiring from the stage at age 33. Then in 1988, she felt God's calling to start a dance program for children and adults called Beautiful Feet.
I set up the bar program completely that the Lord gave me, wrote the manual, trained instructors.
As with her ballet career, she gave it everything she had.
I was teaching like every day, creating choreographing classes and putting it all together. And I just kept going and going and going.
The more she poured herself into her students, the more frustrated she became when they didn't take it as seriously as she thought they should.
I was stressing about it, really stressing about it. I let it affect me personally. I'm like, why can't they do this?
For Paul, Donna's husband of nearly 40 years, it was nothing unusual.
Like most workaholics, they seem to have a difficult time understanding people that aren't.
Then in 2015, after 27 years of running the program, Donna started slowing down. Paul thought it was just signs of age.
Sometimes I would caution her about, you're going to make yourself sick.
Even Donna thought she heard God tell her to stop during her prayer time, but she kept going.
Then one day in class, I was leaning over teaching, and all of a sudden I couldn't see. I mean, I saw spots, and I was really dizzy. I thought I was going to faint. And I'm like, I don't have any balance, and I'm moving around. Praying that my students wouldn't notice.
Over the next few days, her heart rate became elevated. She also developed insomnia and a host of other symptoms.
I started itching all over, dizziness, other allergy symptoms, congestion, and my eyes were blurry. My vision was affected.
The symptoms went on for months until eventually she had to give her classes to other instructors. Meanwhile, doctors could find nothing wrong.
I was confused, distressed, depressed.
Taking her to the doctors left and right, appointment after appointment, and I'm beginning to wonder, Lord, what's going on here? I mean, is she going to die?
The couple asked friends from church to pray with them for healing.
I know people were praying for me, and they were warring for me. And sometimes I would feel it, you know, and I'd get a little remission. But mostly I was chair-bound.
A year after the symptoms began, Donna saw integrative nurse practitioner Robin Eldib, who found that Donna had abnormally high levels of cortisol, the stress hormone.
When they stay in that heightened response for a long time, then they will start to wear after a while. And then there's different stages that are even worse than the one she was in, where they really start to go down, and then you really can have a crashing.
Donna was sent home with supplements and told to rest, but neither offered her much relief. Most days, she couldn't even leave the house.
I had fatigue, like it wore me out to go upstairs to the bathroom, literally. And I'm saying, Lord, how can I serve you from my chair?
Having suffered for 2.5 years, Donna wondered if she would ever find an answer. Then, on August 28, 2017, she mustered up the energy to go to church with Paul.
There was praise and worship, they're singing, I'm praying, and I said, Lord, please take my pain, please take my body aches. And very, very clearly, I heard from this side, it was the Lord, I heard, drop it. I've got this, I've heard about this, I've got it, you're healed. The scripture, cast all your cares on him for he cares for you, came right to my mind. And I said, okay, Lord, I'm going to drop it. It's yours.
Within hours, her symptoms began to subside.
First, it was the allergy symptoms, and then the vision and the dizziness, the seeing spots, then the aches and pains. 24 hours later, I was healed totally. I mean, I had my old energy back.
Very, very positive last time I spoke with her, and felt like most all of her symptoms had been resolved and doing much, much better.
After a few days, Donna went back to teaching a full load of classes. Now she makes sure to rest physically, but also to give God control of her life.
Before, I would say, well, I did this and I did that, but now I say the Lord did this through me. The Lord gave me this program. The Lord creates my classes because he does.
What I've learned out of this, and I think what Donna has too, is that we need to give everything over, the mundane as well as the big.
I know that He is very present always. And He is working through me. It's all His work. It is not mine.
Well, Donna was living a life out of balance. Kind of ironic for a dancer, isn't it? But her need for perfection was what drove her to illness. Now, I know she's not alone in this unhealthy approach to life where what we do, we get very wrapped up in our self-worth and our identity gets wrapped up in what we do. And then she took all her need to perform on herself, and that's a lot of weight to carry. And that's not just true for people like Donna and dancing. I know that's true for so many of us. Have you ever noticed that the older you get, the more actually what you really believe or value gets exposed? I mean, that's honestly the truth of it. When you're younger, you can kind of cover up for, some of your imbalances. But as you get older, you don't have the same ability to cover it up. What has been working inside of you comes out. I think it's a really good warning to us. 1 Peter 5:7, it's a great verse. It says again, give all your worries and cares to God, for He cares about you. Jesus wants to carry your burdens. He wants us to give everything to Him, the mundane and the big things. I don't know, maybe you have trouble giving your burdens to God because you really want to be in control. And I think that's where anxiety comes from. A lot of anxiety. Underneath that is a high need for control. And certainly that's what Donna experienced. She wanted to be in control. Can I just say to you, whatever age you're at, let it go. Don't have the need to feel that you're all in charge and have to be in control of everything. This is what increases anxiety and worry in our life. Give it over to God. Live your life free of it. Give us a call if you need encouragement, 1-855-759-0700. We're here for you 24/7 to encourage you and pray with you. Up next, a powerful story of hope as Nicole finds freedom from bipolar disorder. Watch this.
These are times of warfare. You go into the strong tower when you're under attack.
CBN presents The Name of God, the latest teaching by Gordon Robertson.
God has given you the right to carry His name. That is life-changing.
Discover the peace, healing, provision, and protection that can be found in the Lord's name. Plus,
You are going to see some tremendous real-life stories of people who have seen firsthand what trusting in the name of God can do.
The thought of losing Noah was one of the most terrifying things I've ever walked through.
I could hear my house being shredded, and I heard my wife screaming over the phone.
I knew that God didn't lie to me. I knew that God didn't forget about me.
This is God's promise. This is the way. This is the answer. Go into that strong tower.
get your DVD copy of The Name of God today.
I could wake up in the morning and be pretty happy and upbeat, but by the end of the night, I would be taking a razor blade, cutting my wrist, wanting to die. I just felt like I was living sheer hell on earth.
Nicole Marbach spent 6 years of her life in and out of mental hospitals, tormented by childhood memories of sexual, physical, and verbal abuse at the hands of an alcoholic relative.
I felt very unsafe, and it caused so much fear and anxiety to happen in my life, but I couldn't tell anyone about it because I was afraid.
By the time Nicole was 10, her mom had divorced and remarried. She started going to church and gave her life to Christ. Unfortunately, the abuse continued, as did Nicole's search for love and security.
I believed God was mad at me because I was filled with constant negative thoughts that there was something wrong with me and that I was defective and that I was unlovable.
By early high school, the abuse stopped, but now Nicole had found ways to cope: binge drinking, sex, and hurting herself.
I started, pulling my hair and banging my head against cement walls and pinching myself. And eventually I found a razor and cut myself.
Nicole continued to drink in college, and by the time she graduated, she had settled down, was married to Claude, and soon had 3 children. She thought she had put her horrific childhood behind her until one day when she was changing her daughter's diaper.
And it just triggered so much pain and anger at the time, because here I was, a mother, protecting my child and realizing that nobody protected me.
Those memories also triggered something else.
I started really hearing these negative voices in my head telling me to kill myself and telling me I was a horrible mother and telling me that my kids would be better off without me.
Again, Nicole began binge drinking, and Claude soon found out and insisted they go to counseling. That's when he first heard about her abusive past.
What's difficult is how it's hurting us now. Certainly was, disheartened, very sad, and I had a sense of loss also.
Nicole was diagnosed with PTSD and bipolar and anxiety disorder, among others. Afterwards, she started cutting again.
My mind was racing with such thoughts of self-hatred that one time I even took a razor blade and wrote in 2-inch block letters on my stomach, "I hate me."
Although medicated, Nicole would spend the next 6 years in and out of psych wards following numerous attempts to hurt herself.
The torment, the confusion, the anxiety, the pain and the heartache that I would experience, all of these negative emotions and confusion that wouldn't stop playing in my mind.
And it became like kind of an unsurmountable mountain because it was too much. Personally despaired, but also despaired that she wouldn't be alive.
Finally, the Marbachs resigned to the fact they would have to live with Nicole's mental illness for the rest of their lives. Then, in 2006, Nicole met a psychiatric nurse at a Christian recovery center.
She shared with me that God wanted me well and that I could replace all of those negative thoughts and lies I was believing with truth from the Word. I started hearing the voice of God speaking to me and telling me how much He loved me. And it just, that confusion and mental torment just left. And I knew that I was healed and I was free.
Nicole says right away she lost her desire to drink and injure herself. Also, in the coming months, she got off the meds and could be the wife and mother she and her family needed her to be.
The sense of joy, the fun that we were having, that's coming back. The ability to be the mom she wanted to be.
She also began to discover who she truly was in Jesus Christ, receive His forgiveness, and forgive her abusers.
As I received the love of God for myself, I was able to view my abusers through His eyes of love, and I was able to forgive them. I can't tell you how free I felt in that moment. It was like the icing on the cake of my healing, that I knew that I was healed and whole because of Jesus. And it's been 14 years of no medication. Thank you, Jesus.
Ever since, Nicole has been free and now has a national and international ministry where she helps others struggling with addictions and mental illness. She's also written multiple books, including a devotional that share her journey of healing.
People that think that mental illness cannot be healed, I would say to them, we've witnessed this. Continue to have hope, for the journey is not over, and with God all things are possible.
Everything that I was searching for as a child and as an adult to find safety and love and protection, I have now found that in my relationship with God. I want to tell you that Jesus not only provided physical healing at the cross, but He also provided emotional healing and healing for mental illness. And I want to encourage you that that healing belongs to you.
Your CBN family has prepared something especially for you. It's a CBN Family Christmas, right in your own home. We've gathered holiday memories, miracle stories, and behind-the-scene glimpses with our hosts, all to bring you the warmth and love of the Christmas season. There'll be recipes and crafts, festive music, and family-friendly holiday films and concerts. Download the free CBN Family app and join your CBN family this season.
Well, I hope you've been encouraged today to see that you can cast all of your cares on God. I mean, don't try to micromanage which ones you keep and which ones you give to Him. Give them all to Him. And one of the ways that I find, I mentioned at the top, is have you made a thankful list of looking back over 2020? Yep, you can come up with, I bet you, 5, 10, maybe 20 things that you can be thankful for, because we need to look back in thankfulness in spite of the challenges in order to move ahead without carrying worry, right? So why don't you take some time, even as this show comes to a close, grab a pen and paper and write it down, because it will change the way you see 2021. So give it all to God. Well, I want to encourage you, if you haven't given yet to this ministry and you've been thinking about it for a while, or you just would love to give us an extra gift, wow, we would be so thankful to finish well in 2020. Give us a call, 1-855-759-0700. This is the last chance to get your receipts for 2020, so be sure to get your gift to us soon, and we will send you the name of God. Such an encouraging teaching for you. We love hearing from our viewers, and we've heard from many people, and one of the viewers, Jenny, says, I want to thank the 700 Club prayer team for standing in prayer on behalf of my family and myself. You are all much appreciated. Wow, I'm so encouraged to hear that. I think the most significant part of this ministry is our 24/7 prayer line. That's where we see so many lives change. So if you've never called, and even you just need a short call, someone to help you, remind you of things to be thankful for, give us a call. Janice says, I watch the 700 Club US and Canada every morning. Wow, thanks, Janice. And it makes my day every day. Well, thank you for that encouragement, because we really appreciate hearing from you. Whether you're watching on social media, leave comments below in social media so that we know you're there and we can talk back and forth and answer any questions as well. Well, 1 Peter 5:6-7 says this, humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that He may lift you up in due time. Cast all your anxiety on Him, because He cares for you. Did you catch it? Cast all, not just some. Everything. He's a big God. He's a mighty God. He can handle it all. Thanks for watching today. Give us a call, because we're here for you. God bless you.
To contact us, visit 700club.ca.